Okay, we're going to start shaping the neck by removing the excess material and cutting out the headstock. Now refer to the headstock detail that shows the little arch in the back and sort of work that in and measure it so that you know where to stop your cut. Then again, we set up the aluminum right angle pieces and use the flush cut saw to cut through to our mark. So you can see now the finished thickness of the headstock. Go ahead and cut off that little excess block there. Okay, and now we're going to begin to carve the bottom curves on the headstock. Look at the headstock layout. You can see your measurements for making those two curves on the bottom. Lay those out on the wood, and we'll take a coping saw and cut out the excess material. That's one side. Go ahead and do the other. Now we've got to do the thickness of the neck itself. Now I'm using the asymmetric profile number 3. So what you see is the same process, just depends on which profile you want. Now I'm going to mark here the 1st fret and the 12th fret, lining up the fretboard with the location of the nut. You'll notice on the profile page the measurements are based on the location of the 1st and the 12th fret. So I'm going to mark them on each side and just transfer that measurement to the back of the neck as well. Repeat that at the 12th fret. Okay, and then measure out the thickness of your neck. Now pay attention, there is an area on the profile page that shows the overall thickness including the fretboard. Make sure you're just taking the thickness of the neck at this point. And use a straight edge and draw that line the length of the neck. And just remember, this thickness does not include the fretboard. Repeat that on the other side. And here I'm laying out the thickness of the heel on the neck where it meets the body. Double check that measurement. And I'm going to draw in that curve between the heel and the thickness of the neck here with a French curve. And just draw that in and then mark your French curve so that you'll know the position to put it in on the other side. Okay, and with that line drawn, I'm going to move up to the other end at the nut end, and I'm going to transfer that line for the nut's location around to the back. And then check again with your headstock detail, the back view, and you'll see how to draw out this curve with the French curve. Okay, now you want to clamp down the neck, and I'm actually going to make this cut with a coping saw. It is a pretty long cut to make, a little on the thick side as well, but just take your time and be patient and make a good solid cut straight through. Now, if you have access to a bandsaw, this isn't a bad cut to make with that as well. But you can see here I'm doing just fine with the coping saw as well. Now I've followed that curve out, and then I'm just going to finish up the cut so I can remove that chunk of wood. And there we have our thickness